Welcome to Simply Holy, the podcast for people who want to live a joyful life in Christ. I'm Marge Fenelon, author, speaker, life coach, bringing you joy, inspiration, and simple everyday spirituality with a Marian twist. One of the things I find most thrilling about being a life coach is working with my clients to set and achieve their goals. Goals are what motivate us to grow both spiritually and personally. Goals help us to discern God's will for our lives. It helps us to reach for our dreams and our hopes. Goals give us something to look forward to, but they have to be smart goals. And by smart, I don't mean it's a bright idea or intelligent. No, not at all. SMART is an acronym that stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. SMART goals. A truly excellent goal encompasses all of those factors. So what is a specific goal? Let's use fitness, for example. So maybe your goal is you want to become healthier. You want to live a more healthy lifestyle. Well, that's great. That's a great goal, but it's very broad. It's very broad and it's kind of vague. You need something more specific to motivate you to get working on that end goal. So specific might be, I'm going to exercise 3 times a week for 1 hour. That will help me to become healthier. 3 times a week for 1 hour. That is very specific. It is something that you can do if you put your mind to it, if you adjust your schedule. And so it's a very specific goal in the broader spectrum of living a healthier lifestyle. It's very specific. It also needs to be measurable. A SMART goal is measurable. So let's go back to the fitness example. You have your specific goal to be healthier, and in that respect, to exercise 3 times a week for 1 hour. That's an awesome goal, but it needs to be measurable. So how are you going to measure that? It's not enough to just say, well, I'm going to do that. And it's not enough to just say, well, I think I did that. That's not going to get you anywhere. So what you need to do in the form of being measurable is at the end of each week, do a self-check. Did you exercise 3 times that week for 1 hour? Yes or no? Did you meet it part of the time? Was that goal met maybe 2 days during the week or only 1 during the week? Well, then you need to make an adjustment for the next week and try harder to meet that measure 3 times during the week for 1 hour and keep track of that. That's measurable. You can write down in your calendar. Maybe you have a little diary, but you can keep track of that. You can measure it. That's a goal that is measurable and achievable. Well, what kind of exercise are you capable of? Now, I understand that in fitness, oftentimes physical trainers will encourage us to push ourselves to the limit. I don't mean it like that. I mean, are you capable of, say, riding a stationary bike for 1 hour 3 times a week, or doing a routine on different exercise machines, or taking a nice brisk walk for 1 hour 3 times a week? Are you capable? Is it achievable? Is it doable? If it's doable, then that is a SMART goal. You have to have the necessary skills and resources. So, do you know how to exercise well? Maybe you need to look into that before you start your SMART goal. Do you have the resources? Do you have a place to go walking? Do you have exercise equipment? All of these things, skills and resources, you need to make sure that you have that and that the goal is doable. And that makes it achievable. And then relevant. So is it relevant to you and your situation? You could say you're going to lift weights, bodybuilding weights, for an hour 3 times a week. But if you're not built for that, if you haven't been working up to it, well, it's not relevant to you. That's not a goal that fits in with your ability or perhaps your desire. If you try something that's way beyond your capability, you'll get discouraged much easier. And then think about how your goal aligns with your core values. What do you value? What do you value about your life? Do you value good health? Do you value relationships? Do you value the work that you do? What's important to you? Dependability, stability. People have many different core values. Does this SMART goal of becoming healthier through exercise, does that fit with your core values? I'll give an example of, there are some folks who are fanatics about fitness. And so it becomes addictive. And that's like all they want to do is exercise. And it in a way, of course, it's healthy, but in a way it's not healthy. If it becomes an obsession and takes you away from the other things you value, your family, your work, relationships, relaxation, taking care of your emotional and spiritual health. There has to be balance. There has to be balance, and it has to be relevant to your core values. Time-bound. Time-bound, in a way, I think, is one of maybe the most important of the acronyms for SMART. Because time-bound sets a deadline. It applies a limited and specific amount of time to that goal. So 3 times a week for 1 hour, you're going to exercise. Well, how long are you going to continue that? Maybe you want to drop 10 pounds by Easter or your birthday. That's measurable. So I'm going to exercise 3 times a week for 1 hour for 10 weeks, just to throw a random number out there. And by that time, I expect to have dropped 10 pounds. That's a random example, but I think you understand how that works. Time-bound. Setting it to a time, a limit of time, gives you accountability. In the short run, at the end of the week, your self-check is time-bound. You're holding yourself accountable to yourself. Or you might want to hold yourself accountable to a friend or an exercise partner. Hey, I exercised 3 times a week for 1 hour this week. Oh, that's great. That's great. Okay, it's about accountability. If you don't have any accountability, then all the work of making a SMART goal is going to go by the wayside. Because It won't matter if you achieve it now or sometime in the future or maybe never. If you're not held accountable, there's really no pressure, no motivation to accomplish your goal the way you wanted to. So SMART goals: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. All of these aspects of setting goals work together to help you achieve the goals that will make you a better person, a better Christian, a better child of God, a better spouse, parent, worker, whatever the case may be. SMART goals move you forward. Not SMART goals don't do much for you. They might for a time, but then they tend to lose their effectiveness if they're not specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Those are SMART goals. I know you can do this, and I will be praying for you. Thanks for joining me on Simply Holy. Hey, please do me a favor. Like this podcast, share it with others, and then visit my website, margefenelon.com, to learn more about life coaching with me, how to book me for a speaking engagement, my blog, my books, and so much more. Until soon, my friend, keep on living a joyful life in Christ.